questions, just let me know. Whatever you need, please let me know. The intention today would be to show you the program, but as I show you the program, I'm going to do like in the chronological order for the trial to happen.
Okay.
These suggestions have been designed based on the experiences we've had with many other schools. So the intention here is to tell you how the trials usually go, but of course, if you need to adapt things or if you need something additional, just let me know as we do the walkthrough, okay? Okay, so we're ready here. I'm going to share my screen. Please let me know if you're able to see it. Yes?
Yep. Yes.
Okay.
See our whole family.
Yes, that's my family. That's my parents and my two older brothers. It's important to say that they're older than me. So,
Gotcha.
okay, so I'm going to move these to this corner so that we can. Okay, so when you receive, let me go. No, sorry, this is not what I wanted to. Okay, so every school receives a link, an URL for you to access the platform, and that link is going to take you to the Scholastic Learning Zone where all our programs are located. This is not something new. Every school has a code, an org ID, and that code is for your campus and specifically for that. I'm going to start from scratch. I mean, the trial from zero, from the very first time that you receive the link. So I'm going to show you the program. Okay, so you get this view. I'll show you this. Okay. You're going to get your zone here. It says my zone, and you're going to see these three icons. Literacy Pro Library, where you have all the collection that we have right now. We have around close to 2,000 books, and the development is working to have for next year around 3,000 and a little more. So we're constantly adding. Usually, every year we add a number of books, like twice or three times, around 50, 70 books. But we're doing a lot of additions now because we're going to have a brand new edition in the second semester this year. So that's why we're adding 1,000 books between this year and next year. But usually every year, once that's done, we're gonna get around 70 books twice a year. That's what usually happens. So you're going to see these three icons: Literacy Pro Library, Literacy Pro, and the skills test. Okay? So the e-collection is here. The assessment component and evaluation is here. And this is an additional resource that we designed like 2 years ago, because we had schools telling us, okay, we need to have more specific information about each individual school. So I'll show you that in a minute. For a trial, the trials are around 30 days or 45 days. And the intention of the trial is that we have 2 days for the students to be able to access and explore and be familiar with the tool. Then we start with placement test. We do reading practice, and then we close with another test, like to measure the process. We understand that because of the time, it might not have significant differences, but we just want to see how the process goes. So it's very possible that you don't see a big change in those reading behaviors in the time frame that we have for the trial, but it's important that you get used to do at least 2 or 3 exams during the period of time that you have in a trial 2 times. But when you have an adoption for a year, usually we suggest that it's 3 times that you apply the test. So as soon as your students have their credentials, the suggestion is that you give them the possibility to explore and to navigate the tool for 2 days around so that they can go to the library, they can go to the tests and everything. They can look at the program and become familiar with it. Once that's done, we're going, as a teacher, we're going to go to Literacy Pro. Why Literacy Pro? Because, in fact, teachers can do this even before students have their credentials, so that we assign the test that is going to measure their lexile. Their lexile is not only about vocabulary, it's also about the fact that students understand the text structure, sentences, and paragraphs. So it's a complete understanding of the text and not only vocabulary. That lexile is going to locate your students in a range. So for that to happen, the first thing teachers have to do is to assign the LeadPro test. So you click on Assign, you are in Literacy Pro in the evaluation component, you choose your class, you give a due date, and you tell them when the due date is. Why is this important? Because this is a test that you can pause at some point and continue in another session. We suggest the test split in 2 sessions for the younger kids. So I don't know what ages your students have and with what grades you're going to do the trial. But with the younger kids, if you have students who are 8 years old or 9 years old, we suggest that you split that test in 2 sessions. With those 2 sessions, what you're going to do is that your students do the test 20 minutes and then you tell them to finish in other session, of course, in a different day of the week. So you establish a due date for each class, depending on that. If you're going to have students, older students doing the test one day, of course, you select that due date. And if you're going to have the younger students, let's say today and Friday, so your due date is going to be Friday for them to be able to complete it. And once you do all this, you save it, and your students are going to receive a message that tells them as soon as they get in, your teacher has assigned this test and you have to finish this test by a specific date. So this is the first thing teachers have to do, to assign the LeadPro test so that students can take it based on that due date that you have chosen, okay? So that's the first thing teachers do at this point. Once your students have taken that test during the first week of the trial, you're going to go to reports and you're going to go to this Lexile growth report. You will choose your class and you're going to go to the Lexile growth report. You're going to see that Lexile growth report and you're going to identify, without any calculator in hand, you're going to see, okay, all my students are in this range of Lexile. So you're going to identify that your students, most of them, are from 0 to 400, let's say. And I have 2 specific cases that have a lower, especially this one, have a low Lexile and one that has a very high Lexile. So it's my decision in a trial if I want to have all students doing the same reading the same title, or if I decide that I'm going to have most of my class reading one title and the one that is really low and the one that is really high reading different titles, because that's something that the program allows you to do, to assign different books in a class. For a trial, I usually suggest that it's 1 book or 2 or 3 so that they can read during the period that we have, that is not a very long period, and you don't have to make the differentiation work at this point. So having this in mind, the Lexile, the range that my students have from 0 to, let's say, 600, considering that we have some students like this one in a beginning reader level, which is below 0, but it's the foundational stages of reading. So I'm going to assign books for them to read. I already assigned the LeadPro test. I have the results. Now I have to assign the books for them to read. So I'm going to go to Literacy Pro Library. In Literacy Pro Library, I'm going to find the e-collection. So the books that they are going to be able to read. Since this is a library, students are going to have their library open for them to choose books. But I'm going to assign those that are mandatory. So I'm going to go to Literacy Pro Library. I'm going to see my number of students. Of course, the statistics are going to be in zero at that point, very possibly. And I'm going to go to the books tab. In the books tab, I'm going to find the books that I want to assign. For a trial and for the time that we're going to have the trial, we have to, it's up to the school. If you have a routine of constant reading, your students read a lot, but you also have the routine of reading with them in the classroom, doing read alouds, discussing the titles, so you can assign books for independent reading and books for class. So that's something that you decide again as a teacher. So you assign the books by going to reading level here and saying, okay, my students range is 10 to 400, let's say, Lexile. So I'm going to use this filter and I'm going to see the books that I have in that range to be assigned. And I'm going to know that all these books have a quiz for them to check comprehension after reading. So if I want to assign the book with a quiz, that most of the books have a quiz, so I'm going to know here, and I'm going to be able to see the questions as well. So if it's for independent reading, I just have to choose multiple books here. And I say, okay, I want them to read B. I love this story, so I want them to read this one. And I want this. For independent reading, those are the ones that I'm going to assign. So I click on assign. And I decide what class I'm going to assign the book to. Since this is a trial, I suggest that we use the same book for everybody so that we don't have that process of choosing different books. So I click on entire class and I assign the book to those students. Here I assign 3 books for the trial for independent reading, okay? If I want to assign a book for class discussion and I want to use the resources the platform is giving, I'm going to use this filter, interactive read alouds. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to leave the Lexile and I'm going to click on interactive read alouds because here I have lesson plans to guide you as suggestions for that classwork. So I'm going to choose the interactive read aloud and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to assign this and I'm going to use it for class discussion. So I click here, I assign, again, I do the same process. Okay, it's taking me out. So if I'm going to use this resource, I'm going to assign it. So I already assigned it and it's the same process, but I want to see what the lesson plan suggests and I want to work with students. Before my class, I download the lesson plan and I see the activities, the before, the during, the after reading activities. The lesson plan gives an introduction to the book, like prediction and activities for before reading. Then the possible answers that you can get from students, the while reading activities, vocabulary, and then the after you read and optional activities as suggestion. Here you always see the possible answers you're gonna get from students. This is the plan with possible answers. During class time, what the teacher is going to do is, oh my God, I know it's not here. What the teacher is going to do is to, whenever he finds this question mark, you're gonna click there and you're gonna see the activities that are in the lesson plan to be done during class time with students. So whatever you found in the lesson plan, which was this activity, you have it in the lesson plan with the answers, in the platform are going to show like this. So you're going to fill this with what students say, and then you move on and you continue with the book. You can play, in this case, the recording of the story is available for them to also listen to the book. Most of the low-level books have this functionality. So you continue moving pages, turning pages. This is something that is happening because of the connection. I'm in a place that is not my house, so it's kicking me out because of the connection here. Sorry for that. Okay. Let's go again. So whenever I see these question marking pages, it's the same activities that you see in the downloaded lesson plan that we have. So let's go here and see if we can find some other question mark. You can have the
pack, unpack, pack and unpack. Get ready for the show.
Here we have more pages, and then the lesson plan tells me that on page 9 there is another stop to discuss in class. So here we have the question and the possible answer that appears in the lesson plan as well. So this is, again, independent reading versus class time. So you can assign for the trial 1 here, and depending on the routine that the students have, a number of books for independent reading so that they know at home they also need to do some reading. That's how it works. And here we have the quiz button. Since I'm in a teacher's mode, I'm going to see the questions. I'm not going to see the quiz the way students see it, but it's for you to see that we have the same multiple choice questions. In this case, for this specific book, we have 10 questions and you have the answer key here. Your students are going to be seeing one question at a time, big font, in a different way they're going to see it. So this is the quiz. Once you have that, you are able to check for their progress in 2 different ways. One way is here in reports. You can go to your class, and you can go to the class quiz activity report. And there, you're going to see what your student did, the quiz they took, the score they got, the quiz date, and everything else. So you're going to have the information and how well they did. Those are the 2 reports that you're going to see during the trial. The Lexile report and the class quiz activity report to see if your students are taking the quizzes. That's what you're going to be doing. So you start, they navigate, you assign the Litro test, they take the test. Based on the Lexile, you assign books to read for independent reading and maybe a book for class discussion. And then at some point in the process, you do another Litro test, assign it for them to do it and see if the reading behavior has been changing. And when I say reading behavior changes, they can go up or they can go down. This is a possibility because, of course, students might be reading and having some difficulties, and that's going to show in the exams. Or they are just increasing and they are enjoying and learning and increasing the reading skills, getting them better. So that's what the trial is going to be about. Now, at some point, when you have your student, Pedro has a Lexile of 200. But as a teacher, I want to know what that 200 is about, what skill he needs reinforcement in, or what skill he is already strong in. And for that, we created what I showed you at the beginning, this skills test. So with the skills test, You're going to be able to assign it as well if you want at some point to have this test. Or if you want to use it only with the students that you show have a low leg style and you want to understand a little bit more about them. So you go to tests and you say, okay, I'm going to assign this test for these 3 students whose leg style is too low. I think they have a better skill in reading, but I want to understand why they got a low leg style. So I go and I assign the test again. I choose my class and I say, okay, I'm going to assign it to Sharon, to Carolina, if she's around here, to Carolina, and to Daniela, because they had a low result in the Lead Pro, and I want to understand why. So I assign the students this test, or if I want to do it for the whole school, I do assign to all instead, and we have all students chosen here. I assign these tests, and again, we're going to get a report telling us where they can improve, where they are strong. So I'm going to go to reports. Once they do it, and I'm going to go and see the results. So I'm going to go to the test. These are the skills that the test measures: author's craft, text structure, main idea and details, summarizing, prediction, conclusion, sequence, inference, viewpoints, and literary devices. So I'm going to see my students' results, and I'm going to identify what students are doing better than others, and those skills my students are struggling with, if we can say that. So I'm going to see that some students are having low results. In this case, in conclusions, I have 3, 4 with difficulties in conclusions, and I have 4 as well in summarizing and synthesizing. With that information, I can work with the group as a whole, trying to give them some clues for these skills to be improved, or I can focus on the students that have lower performance. In this case, Ulita, for example, has many skills with a low result. Maybe 2 possibilities. Maybe she was bored and she didn't take the test seriously, or maybe I say, okay, Ulita, yes, she has some difficulties. Let's focus on the lowest skills, and then I can work with her a little bit more. If I do that, I'm going to go to Ulita and I'm going to see her answers. I'm going to be able to see every question and where she had difficulties. So for me, it's clear that she has some difficulty with sequencing, let's say. What kind of exercise did the test use to measure sequence? This. So I can work with my student and I can help her specifically with the answers she gave to this test. If this is something we want to use and we want to understand better the results of Lita, I analyze this with her, I explain this to her. Though this is, let's say for the trial, this might be too much, but maybe we can just take a look at the kind of test, the kind of questions, and analyze the process with 1 or 2 students to see how this can be implemented in the future. Again, events, she has difficulties with events. Again, events. So this is going to give me information that is not only the number of leg style that places that student in a range, which is already good, but also understanding what specific skills this student needs to work on, and maybe what specific skills he's really strong in. So that's what the trial looks like. Now, the platform has the possibility, with the trial, you have the possibility of assigning independent reading and also working with them for class discussion to try to use all the tools the platform offers. Of course, the timing again is an issue, so you might not be able to take a look at all the reports, do the whole activity, but if you can try with some classes to do use some of the functionalities, then you're gonna be able to see how that works with your students. I don't know if you have questions, if you want me to go through something, Sharon, I don't know if there is something else that needs to be. This is usually how we suggest the trials go.
Thank you, Carolina. I still don't get my video to work, but I'm here. Very quick. Britta, how was that for you? Do you have any questions you want to ask?
No, that made a lot of sense. I'm glad for how simple the steps are. So thanks for that. I just want to know if I have not yet assigned the Lit Pro test, then the students cannot get any of the books, correct?
No, that's why we have like separate icons. Students can look at the books whenever they want. They don't have, I mean, there is no
Right.
no condition for them to be able to open the books. They are separate. So in fact, if your students already have their credentials, they have the Lit Pro button available. So they
Yes.
might be able to access without you assigning.
Right,
So-
okay, I thought so but some of my students said that they could not get into the book when they signed up. Is that
Do you
at our end?
Do you happen to know what book is that?
No, it was
Okay.
different students, but I don't know the book, but I'll get the name of the book.
Please, because we need to check to see if maybe the book, I don't know if somebody, because there is a possibility for a teacher to also hide books. I
Okay.
don't think, I don't know if that has happened. Maybe a teacher just hid some book and that's why they cannot see it.
Okay, I'll ask them and I'll send an email.
Okay,
So,
okay,
but
let
the-
us know.
But they can access the books without them being assigned. They don't have to be assigned.
Yes.
They don't have to be
thank
assigned.
you.
Right.
But if the books are hidden, then they cannot see it. They
Right.
cannot open the
Yes,
book.
yeah.
That's the only option for the books.
Right,
Eh,
right.
Or maybe they don't see the book because they already took a test. And when they go to the library, if they already have a Lexile assigned, when a student goes by default to the library, the only books they are going to see are the books in their Lexile range. So if by any chance they already have their credentials and they
Right,
already accessed and they already have a Lexile. So as a student, I log in and I see only books in that range. So maybe they don't find any other
right, I
book,
get it.
only
Yes,
the ones
I will
that are in
ask.
the range.
Okay,
Okay.
Did
Let
they
us know,
take
let
the,
us know.
did they
thanks
take
very
the
much for
test?
clarifying.
Did they take the test already, Britta?
They would have, we signed up last week and I went through the video and explained to them the test and everything. So they would have taken the test. So I believe it's the latter, that they
Ah.
only seen books within their Lexile
Within
range.
their Lexile.
So I'll explain that to them.
Okay.
Yes.
So what did their results look like? Were you surprised? Did you understand what the results were?
They are a reading class. This is one of this is my year 6 class, and they are voracious readers. So I'm not surprised that their Lexile range is pretty
This was
good,
high.
and they
Yeah.
have, yeah, they're very eager for this
Okay.
because they will just pick up anything and read. So they're glad for something now that they can do. They are reading more for pleasure, but I will assign a few for the class for us to discuss as well.
Okay.
Okay,
What about the
also-
skills test?
Sorry?
Maybe you want to assign the skills test as well, just to see how
I'll
well they're
I'll
doing.
assign a skill set.
Yeah. Would be good to see how well they're doing. They sound brilliant.
They are, yes,
Okay.
they are.
And also, if we might not need or we might not want them to always do a quiz, but we want to see if they open the books that we assigned, if they've
Right.
taken some time to read. So you can also see that in the program. I'm going to show you not my demo school, but your school to see if we can find some kind of behaviors or interesting things to check. There are 2 students who already have a Lexile in your class, Carolina Gallardo and Ridwan Salia.
Yes,
That's
yes.
what the report shows. So-
Ridwan is actually not-
Wow, that's brilliant. 1172.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Oh,
brilliant.
I want to meet these kids.
So if you want to take a look at the books, once you assign them, you can go to the library, and in the library you have only one report. That report is
Yes.
under students. So the assigned books report is gonna give you information on those books that you assign. Okay, you haven't assigned any. So let's go
No,
here.
I haven't assigned, yeah.
So let's
So
go
I'll
to the
assign
library in my
something.
demo. And you're gonna be able to see, so I don't think there are I don't know if we have information here. Let me see. Assigned book report. My class is demo class. So you're gonna see the progress of those books that you have assigned. I'm gonna go to the past because I'm not sure. Let's see if this one has no past. Let's see if this one has some kind of progress.
Right.
Okay, it's not assigned here. Look, Bianca Palumbo,
Yeah.
one student already completed the book. That's why this
Okay.
circle is completed. And she took 4 minutes reading the book. So this is how you can take a look at the books and see
Okay.
if they have already started the books that are assigned, if they haven't started, or if they have completed them, the time they took. This time, once you know the book, is gonna give you some idea about how serious or what kind of reading they are doing. Because
Right.
sometimes it's surprising to see they are reading a book in 1 minute. So they might not be really reading pictures and trying to use strategies to understand the story better or finding
Yes.
vocabulary words they don't understand. So this is something that can give you some clue about how they are interacting with the books.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's how you can see those books that have been assigned. And this report is going to give you a clue on how they are doing that reading. Okay.
Okay. I have two students who are they speak fluent English, but they are originally from Peru and Cuba.
Okay.
Are there
Okay.
any ESL books just for them to, even though they read in English as well, just to give them that option and feel a little more comfortable reading?
No, what you can do with them, you might give them a different kind of book that has a lower lexile for them to have a different process. That's something that you may do with them, to give them a different book for them to try to have a process that has specific steps with them, to work differently with them. So maybe
Okay.
that's something you can do. And for them, you can also try to use, instead of the lexile, you can use the guided reading level approach. I mean,
Okay.
you can use, instead of lexile, you can say, okay, their age is this one. We might assign to them books that are depending on their age or their grade. You can ask some guided reading levels to them for them to have a different process if you want to go
Okay.
to walk with them through that process.
Yes.
So this is a possibility with
Yeah.
them.
Okay, great. Good. This was helpful.
Oh, good.
Okay, I'm glad.
Yes. I'm glad.
Anytime, please.
Well, that's
Thank
good to
you.
know, Carolina. We'll make a note of that.
Please,
Anytime.
yeah, I love to do this, and I love to talk to teachers to see what is needed, what
Yeah.
you find useful in the program, because that's the kind of feedback that we always need. Anyways, I was in the classroom a long time ago, so of course you are the ones who know what is needed, and we need to hear that from you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
You're
Okay.
welcome. Thank you.
So, Britta, do you think you have any students outside of your grade 6 voracious readers that might need some support that could use this? Maybe that are not as strong in reading? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But now, what Mrs. Pereira was saying, let's try it with this class so we will know how to introduce it to the others, because there are
Okay.
definitely others who need
Okay.
this, especially the varying levels, the lexile, and for us to know as well,
Of course.
you know,
Right.
not just assume and to see, but to actually have that
The data. Right.
Yes.
Data is important.
Of course. Yeah, very useful. Mhm.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well,
All right.
thanks very much. I know you have a class
Very
and you
much.
have to make arrangements for your class.
All
So
right.
thanks very much. Reach out to us if you need any help. Carolina, thank you
will.
so much for this.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, and it's always a pleasure to see you and talk
Yeah,
to you.
great.
Okay?
Okay, all
All right,
right.
have a good
Bye-bye.
Everybody have a
Thank
good
you.
day. Bye.
Bye.